Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a good day. I just wanted to put some logical information out on the sound waves and talk to people real quick about how silly some of these racial classifications are. Before I even get started on any of this, I just want you all to know that if you look up at what white people are actually classified as, is Caucasian. So if you break that word down, that means you guys are Asians, like at the core. And I'm not, so what you're looking at is, and I can get into this a little later at the end of the video, you would have something called Denisovans back in the day. Now, humans, they found, I think, 20 different species of humans using archaeology and different scientific technologies. But what you're looking at is a branch of African peoples branched throughout the world, or they called it Pangea or whatever. When that happened, you ended up having a branch of Denisovans and a branch of Neanderthals. Well, eventually the Denisovans and Neanderthals had died out, and what you ended up having was Asians and Caucasians. A lot of Caucasians are the only ones with Neanderthal DNA, and a lot of Asiatic people have Denisovan DNA. Now, you look at Africans, they possess primarily Homo sapien DNA, hominid and stuff like that. I can get into that in a little bit later, but I want to talk about the irony of Mexicans and Hispanics being deported. So, first of all, um, I've heard people say Mexicans aren't Native Americans, and I just want you all to know, like, some of the things you guys do and say is like really counterproductive. So even if you look at this AI overview, are Mexicans, Spaniards, and Mayans, I typed in. And it says, no, Mexicans are not simply Spaniards and Mayans. The majority of Mexicans are considered mestizos. Not sure what that means, but here we go. Meaning they have a mixed ancestry, primarily considering of both Spanish, European, and indigenous Mesoamerican, meaning Mayan heritage, meaning they're Native Americans. So for a German whose mother is Scottish and father is a birthright citizen because his grandfather came here from Germany, to be removing people who are not only European, but Europeans who have been here longer, mixed with Native Americans, is the most mentally ill shit I've ever heard in my life. I'm sorry, it's not the most mentally ill shit I've ever heard in my life, but it's up there. It's jarring. So then I thought about it and I was like, well, the Mayans and the Aztecs, which are Native Americans, which are a branch of Asiatic people who came across the Bering Strait, who were once either Pangea or African. I can go through all the receipts if you like. But basically, the point is, you guys are hollering, kick out the Hispanics, but the Hispanics have more right here than the actual Europeans. I don't care from what age they came from, because they're of Native American DNA. There would be no Mexicans, there would be no Hispanics without Native Americans. The reason most people in South America, and when you got like Mexicans are American, Brazilians are American, Canadians are American, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, all of them are American. It's called North and South America. So, if you look at a map of the Mayans and the Aztecs and all that and the Native Americans, y'all are they basically annexed a bunch of their land, pushed it all the way down south, and then told them where they can and can't go. I'm certainly confused about this. And this all started when I heard somebody telling somebody else that they weren't a Native American, so they had to go. I was like, first of all, they are Native American. Matter of fact, African Americans and Hispanics are closer to Native Americans than what you would hold on, I'm gonna show y'all something. Because when you look at an actual Native American, like ones from the past, Native Americans, right? I'm going to type this in and, sorry. If you look at what pops up, look at how dark these peoples were, right? I'm not trying to be funny, but these people lived in a country where half the year round it was scorching heat like Africa, and the other half of the year round it was freezing cold. You see them wearing all these furs and stuff? Spaniards and Europeans came over here, definitely in South America, and totally mixed. But in America, there was something called segregation and hatred. Even though there was segregation and racism, you still have factions of humanity mixing. So if you look at current Native Americans, the same thing you see happening over in the Middle East, if you catch my drift, right? It's jarring how they do this with each civilization. So you guys will be like, Native African Americans are closer. Oh, okay. Philip's War with Native American Wars. There was something called the Philip's War. When this had happened, 6.6 million to 7 million Native Americans were instantly enslaved with 12 million Africans. They did not want Africans mixing with Europeans because they had created racism, because Africans and Europeans started mixing. Well, then you have where they started mixing Native Americans and Africans. So, like, you heard all this about reservations of tribes. After they enslaved these real Native Americans, they created little civilizations. And then once those people had lightened up a bit and were tamed, I'm going to tell y'all something real. All real Native Americans didn't want nothing to do with the Europeans after the plague and the murder that they had started. That because they keep talking about Pocahontas and all this, and they would no. For a brief blink of time, they were coming together, and some of them were mixing. But then the Europeans and the colonizers started stealing and taking land and spreading disease. So then the Native Americans started fighting back, and then these wars happened. So, telling a Hispanic person, is a Mexican a Native American? Has indigenous history. What does that mean? That's not literally possible. Where do Mexicans come from? Mexicans weren't here 4,000 or 5,000 years ago. There was no Mexicans. It was Mesoamerica. From Meso to Mexo. Like, bruh, they did the same thing with Yehoshannah's name. They turned it to Jehovah and Yahweh. They switched the J and the Y and created Jesus, which is I'm a gracious pig. I'm telling you all what they're doing. It was Mesoamerica. Then the Spaniards, what is a Spaniard? The Spaniards mixed with the Mesoians and they created Mexicans. They did not speak Latin and all that. So I don't know what to tell y'all. In terms of that, if you type this in, what percentage of African Americans have native ancestry? Portions of 73.2% African, 24.0% European, and 1% Native American. So, like, when I tell y'all this is like true but like scary, because that would mean they have literally mixed almost a fourth into our genetic code and still hate us. So when it's all said and done with, they'll be like, blacks were whites. I don't know how to explain this. Watch this. Are Egyptians whites? In the 2020 census, Lebanese and Egyptian were offered as examples for the white box on the race question. Like I can't, hey, y'all. So the Mexican ain't even a. They're literally attacking more Native Americans. I'm gonna put you at that point. At this point, I never have really been into a fuck around to find out. But y'all not finna start using stupidity and mentally ill behavior to like. None of this makes sense anymore. Hispanics are Native Americans, basically. The Spaniards, even if you look up the word Rican, how they'll be like Puerto Ricans are black because they mix with Cubans, or they are. I don't even know what's going on, but Cubans are Spaniards too, and they mix with South America. There is like a percentage of okay. Where does English come from? Originated on the Germanic languages of Anglo-Saxons and Jutes. The reason why I get like confused when black people say they're Jews is because, first of all, if you take the T or the cross out of Jutes, you get Jews. It's a name for like Polish, Romanian, like Russian peoples, which were originally like almost Mongols. That's a whole nother history lesson. But what I'm telling y'all is it was British and Irish. These Germanic people came and started taking everything over. They don't show like a lot of up here with the Norway and French and all that. But the point is, you're looking at a fraction of a little bit of humanity colonizing the entire world because of what the Romans and a bunch of other people instituted. But it's called extremism and elitism. And so there's like a lot of history to be learned. That's why the whole like white, black, blah, 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 Mexican, you guys like sound fucking ridiculous. There's so much science involved and different cultures involved. So my lady just showed up. It's about time to get her done. So please clean this stuff up. There's like scientists and people everywhere. Y'all have like a lot of free time now because I heard some stuff was going on. Jump into the media and fix this foolishness, because there is how many species of humans are there? Right? One species, right? Homo sapien, but there was Homo erectus, where a lot of people come from, and Homo neanderthalis and Denisovans. Here we go. This is the one. They have found 20 species of humans. Like, you guys were past the racist stuff. Like, you guys got to grow up and get this shit together. And we need to, as humanity, figure this stuff out. And stop attacking black people, because we trying to help y'all at every point and warn y'all about this. So let's go.